Hello. Is everything correct? I think so. Should be. Uh, yeah. I am live. Right region. No frame drop so far. I to believe. I choose to believe.
I choose every victory.
Double kill. Quadruple kill.
Really like the blade on the skin. Really like the blade on the skin. I don't love these shurikens too much, although honestly they don't look bad. They're inoffensive. But I really like the blades. Both the short and the long one. Like the edge.
Triple kill. Quadruple kill.
I think the skin looks fine. I also don't care that much about the skin itself, because that's not really what I'm gonna look at. I mean, there's some consideration as for like how you're gonna look to other players, but to me what matters the most is the arm, right? And this is again just standard arm, right? This is not like a skin that changes the arm and makes it massive. Those skins are harder to use because the arm just feels so bulky. I don't like it. But this one has like a standard arm. The shuriken is inoffensive to me. And I really like the blades. I wasn't initially gonna buy this skin, but I ended up getting it because I stopped to think about it, and it actually works very well with Galactic. Without Galactic, I think that the weapons look a lot worse. But the funny thing is that this skin has just made me want to play with the Mythic skin again. Because the Mythic skin also has a weapon variant that works like this, which is the second one. Which I think is quite cool. Let me show. When I go back to play it on my main, I'm gonna use it. Cyber Demon. Here. These light edges. I really love this. I don't know how anyone can choose this one. This one I feel like is so boring. What is this? This one? Ooh. I love this. I love this so much. Well, it's not bad, but I don't love the color. Like, it's fine here. It's not really fine here, I don't think. This one I think looks the best color scheme wise. But it doesn't have the coolest weapon. I guess golden on this is also fine. Crimson on this one is okay too. They're a bit questionable on the shurikens. Guess this is also not terrible. I don't know, I don't love Jade very much. But here. I like this a lot. Actually, oops. It should have been golden. Yeah. This is what I wanted to show. Here. I love this color scheme so much. This looks so nice. The white with the gold and the pink. And the way the color is spread out too makes it look so nice. Really love this. I also like how this skin looks. Doesn't have weapons that look as good, but the blades are still fine. The only thing that this one loses is that because of the added color, it doesn't give like the actual edge of the sword as much of a shine, you know? So when you look at this, it's kind of muted except on the edge, right? So it gives the edge a lot more focus. Here, because this is so colorful, it kind of fights for focus. It's not bad looking by any means, but I really do like how this looks. It's so clean. Yeah, exactly, less contrast. Let me equip this again. So far, 0 frame drops, yeah? This is great. Let me close this. What did I do different? For what, internet? Also, I'm sitting on this account, I'm sitting on almost 12k points. I don't know, the Crimson Wolf I don't think looks that good on a lot of characters because it of the Talon logos. It really needs to be on small weapons so the Talon logo doesn't show. I don't know, it's weird. Jade kind of looks cheap. Like this is not a very good Jade. Galactic is just it's cool, but it's also just like hard to combo with skins, so it feels hard to use this, and same thing for this one. This should be a more universal color, but the Talon logos make it bad. Golden gun stocks have always been good, and I think that adding some variants helps you further appreciate how good the gun or the golden guns look. I have more skins on my main to show, but like there's so many clean combos, especially if that either white or black combined with the gold. For frames, I just got tech support. And so far it has done what it needed to do. Like apparently the router, I think, is the English name for it. Needed some calibration. But I'm still not quite convinced that the guy's explanation for why the internet would only ever be bad. Like the device wouldn't be working as intended, but the only thing that would be affected by that would be streaming and literally nothing else. Everything else that we ever try to do would work perfectly fine. So it's just, oh, this device is not working properly, but the only consequence of the device not working properly, not working within the range whatever that we're talking about, is that you can't stream. So I did not get a very good explanation on that. So if the issue arises again, I'm gonna have to be like, yeah, I need a I need a better explanation for this. Yeah, the outfit itself I don't like as much on the mythic skin. I really like the clean phase look of Genji. I also don't love the voice lines as much. There are some voice lines that are kind of weird. I can't quite remember them off the top of my head. Like there's one that's like illuminating accuracy or something like that. Like what is that supposed to mean? Illuminating accuracy. A bunch of silliness. Runner. I mean, Street Runner frequently shows up, and frequently shows up for cheap. Like if you only really play Genji, I think that like the Maximilian Vault is only really gonna show you Genji skins and you can get it. I believe I got it on one of my accounts for like 600 coins instead of the usual 1,000, which you can farm in a single season on the Battle Pass without even buying it, right? Just the free part of it. So it's not that expensive of a skin. In this skin in many seasons? That's weird. Do you play a lot of other characters in that case? What my setup consists of? My physical setup, like PC specs or what? Or do you mean like the Genji stuff? I've not played Baxta with Xion yet to know how she moves around in here. There's something that I was thinking about. Who can I do this against? Maybe the Mizuki here? I don't think movement matching is that useful on Genji. Like when you're on a tracking character, I can show a clip. I don't tend to use this technique often, but a friend of mine frequently uses it, and I had a neuron activation moment in this game when I was facing a Xion because of her hitbox. I was like, wait a second, I can use this technique. Where is it? Here. You're gonna see exactly the moment of the technique, right? This little jump right here. Where because she walks herself into a wall, I know that she's probably gonna walk back this way. I mean, technically she can strafe this way, right? She's walking into a wall, but she's positioned herself in a way that she won't hit the wall, right, if she keeps going, but I really thought that she was gonna go to the right. So at that point, it's just butt crosshair at her, and then just movement match, right? You can see that I'm moving to the right, I'm not moving my crosshair. And then I just get a really good burst. And her HP just disappears here, right? But I don't think that this is all that useful on Genji. Anyways, little side tangent there. Oh, I don't mean the shop, I mean the next 4 was played combined. Weird. I don't know exactly how Maxi works, but I thought that they worked based on the amount that you play characters, or at least recently. I have PC specs on my Twitch description. I'm pretty sure it's mostly up to date. My PC specs are not that good though. I'm probably gonna have to upgrade sooner rather than later. Like they're, I believe, late 2019, early 2020 is when I got this PC. I don't remember the PC specs off the top of my head, but they should be on my Twitch about section. Almost 300 ping. If it wasn't, I wouldn't play the game anymore. Yeah, certainly playing on ping is not as enjoyable. That's for sure. Especially the aiming part of things. Like if I go into the practice range and I hit like a combo, because of the delay on the combo, I can do. Oops, what happened there? Hello? My melee went before my shots. If I do this, because of the delay, it's like 10 times less satisfying, even if it's the exact same combo, just because me executing it and me receiving the reward, right, the visual feedback, the sound feedback, etc. for the combo, that makes it feel so much worse to do on latency. So I enjoy more of the other aspects of the game, just like the intrinsic just playing well, the strategical aspect, etc. No, I don't have a super. I think it's 1660.
Double kill.
And no, I do not have a G502, I've never had it. I think I've used the G203 for most of the time that I played. It was my first mouse and then it was doing just fine and I just kept buying it whenever the old one stopped working. Because they're cheap and they're fine. I think the Logitech G03 is one of the most bought mouses now. Because it's an entry one that performs really well for the price. Or something like that. Yeah, I do have a glass pad now. That is worth noting. No, I have had 0 frame drops. It's not that's not too much frame drop. There have been 0 frame drops. Yesterday, after the tech visits, I streamed unlisted. I figured out I couldn't do that, so I don't have to notify everyone every time I wanna test. I streamed for 4 hours. Or rather, I left it running for 4 hours, and I transmitted, I think, around like 12 gigabytes of information or something like that. Don't remember how many frames, like probably over 500,000. And I dropped 0, which is nice. That's how it should have been. Which had the glass pad. I should probably make a comment for that. Is the Super Glide Chew. And then the mouse I'm using now, it's, I believe, the M-Chose A7 Pro.
Double kill. Major pack unlocked.
Anyways. 2 minutes. EU truly has some good queue times. You go to an A even in peak hours and then you get 10-minute queues. I'm really curious about how my viewership is gonna be with this title. I think this is a funny title, just using words that start with G. But I don't think I'm gonna get too many viewers with something like this. More than ish? No. Okay, I'm comparing it to my usual viewership. Oh, and he's gone. GPU bottleneck. I don't remember what I have mine at. I think it's at 100. Yeah. The one thing I did not check is if there was any way to just buy the skin for cheaper than 1,900 coins. The bundle is gonna be more expensive, so I don't really care. I just went to the hero section and just bought it here. I don't think there is a way to get it for cheaper than that. I think that if you do it separately like I did here, that is just gonna be the cheapest option available, right? Like here, technically, the skin is selling for less than 1,900 coins, but it's because it's on the bundle and everything else is cheaper too. And you can see here, right, like GM1 to Champ 5 lobby, so narrow range, and yet the kill was incredibly fast. It is a shame though. If I lived in EU, I could get both low ping and fast queues. But now I have to choose between playing on NA for a little bit lower ping and worse quality games in queues, or better quality games in queue times for higher latency. But I'm used to the latency, like 180 is what I used to get on NA for a long time. Now on NA I usually get 140 if I get on the best new server that they added for me. But they added that after I just kind of dipped from the region. Because the region kinda sucks.
What's here?
That's why I wall climbed, by the way, so that it's harder for him to hit me with dash.
I am healed. I am healed.
Okay. Bye bye. It's because you have packet loss. Stable internet won't have people teleporting until like the 200s and something, like 250.
My aim is at the barricade must stay in motion.
Wow. I'm hitting some shots.
My skills improve.
Could not have used deflect for that.
My ultimate is Yujin no Ken. I am healed. My spirit blazes.
I wanna contest the Ashe, but I don't want the Genji going on me. Okay, I'll take the trade. Ashe is one of the hit skins that I think Genji has one of the best matchups into. Her head hitbox is so massive.
これで終わるものか。
Like, of course I'm hitting good shots, but like, if I do the same aim against the Soj, a lot of the times I'm gonna be hitting like for 33% of the damage, because I'm only hitting 1 instead of 3 headshots.
The barricade's moving along.
Waiting for this house to jump in.
Fucking satellite vector!
He's not going to. 3 kites.
Enemy spotted!
Solar boost administered.
We have the robot.
Oh.
My ultimate is charging.
They wanna fight, huh? Let's give it to them. Barricade falling! Deuce! Get in there, Bob!
Keep an eye out.
Here it comes! They took the robot!
Get that one.
What only?
Approaching the final destination. Approaching the final
Got that barricade moving. I am restored. There's a turret here. Body here. Bring in the rain.
Okay, nice. Clean game.
victory.
Then that's not really tough to think about. I haven't really played while streaming, or at least
Play of the game.
while like streaming and having my second monitor open so I can check chat and stuff like that. Like I didn't mute myself or anything like that, but it went fine.
Tear it down.
Play like this what? Uphill! Not too bad. Account's almost champ. The only account that isn't in champ right now. Wait, I can just go here. Because I only have one account favorited. Ta-da! Took a lot of work. The open queue was easy. Cause yeah. And oops, let me go time played. Wait, Orisa? I played a lot of Orisa. 6% win rate is not too bad. This was at like 80 something% win rate. 82% win rate. The open queue was easy. The rest is what took some time. And the funny thing is I actually hit champ 4 in support. So while shoot, what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, now this looks ugly because it's not 5 on all of them. It's 4. Me climbing here just makes this ugly. Now I really feel like I wanna climb everything to champ 4. Fun. But what do you mean if playing like that you would be feeding? I'm curious.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, I can go over this game. I need to figure out exactly how I want to handle streaming in the future.
5, 4,
I want to do like I can do some days where I just like I'm streaming but like I have the second monitor turned off, I mute myself during games, I just full focus. I want to do days where I stop between every game to analyze the VOD, just provide educational value, etc. Things like that. I want to experiment with a bunch of different things.
2, 1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Shields up.
The Ashe there is just like tempting, but it's just too far. She's just gonna get healed. Here, I think this is an interesting situation. Why am I playing here? I'm curious for chat. I'm gonna provide some quick lessons here. Why am I playing this way? I'm not even gonna give you help in terms of like, this is a good play, this is a bad play. I'm gonna let you guys think. I do have a lot of Genji videos on Coloseo. One of them specifically going over what I'm doing right now. I guess that might give a hint that what I'm doing right now is good. It's kind of tracer angle. I don't know. I mean, yes, Tracer could play here, but Tracer can also do this, and I feel like Genji can't do this as well. But also, what's the alternative? Sit main and just lose the poke trait to Ashe and stuff like that? Or don't pick the Ashe, only pick the hazard, and then you're doing like no damage? Or I mean, maybe you are doing some damage, but that's all you're doing, and then they're just healing it off. This area is kind of naked, even though in theory you can play here, because like nades and dynamites and stuff like that, and just hazard pushes and stuff. That's fine, because Genji provides okay poke, but it's less so about Genji's damage and more so about the angle that you're taking with it, right? And what I'm doing right now is my hazard can chill behind this wall and full heal and push whenever. Their hazard cannot sit behind this wall and chill and engage whenever, because there's a guy shooting him from the side. But also, this guy is playing in such a range that he cannot engage here, otherwise he would feed. He would disconnect himself too much from the team, and also he would just be too far out of position, right? He wouldn't be close enough to cover its side escape path, that we can't push. If the hazard jumps me here, my hazard just jumps, walls here, and shoots this guy in the back, and their hazard is dead, right? Just a really great angle, and immediately like one Genji is doing a lot and the other Genji is not really doing much, right? And I guess that's because I'm just here early, right? If I'm not here, maybe this guy walks here or just walks close. I think it's a mistake to walk close into the Has though. Your damage does not drop that much at range. I actually looked at the Genji damage stats not too long ago. I believe it's like 90 something DPS with left click and then 110 with right click or something like that. It's like a 20% damage increase to right click. If you do the other way around, it's gonna be even less of a reduction. It's gonna be less than 20% damage reduction if you think about it. But anyways, Genji's damage does change between the two types of weapons, but it's not significant enough where you should play here and then get your deflect forced or lose 100 HP, whereas here you lose like 0 to the hazard, things like that, etc. So here, I'm just winning as the space. And you can see that the hazard immediately tries something else, right? He does not stand here because my hazard is healthier. So their hazard goes here, trying to push from this angle, hide from me, get an engage outside of my LOS, etc. But guess what? This is my hit scans angle, right? This long area. You can see the Ana, the Juno, the Ashe is rotating here, right? This is where a lot of the long range characters fight. So this guy is unhappy regardless. Took too much damage. And then the Genji tries to push me. Of course he would. It's a good angle for me, right? But because I walk climbed outside of his LOS, if he's gonna shoot me, he's gonna have to react to me and readjust his aim, and he did not do that very well. And even then, I can just, oh, he dashed me. Okay, I can take the duel, or I can just leave. Or I can even do what I did and just maintain some range and just stay here, because this guy is not that threatening here. Because he's without dash and he cannot really push me if he doesn't land good damage initially. Our Freya just sucked this fight. Like if you look at it, there's a 1200 damage difference between the hit scans on the teams. Just funny. Climb on the pillar and then what? The backline is playing far. This is very predictable. And then the hazard is here. Climbing the wall would be useful if the hazard was here and then the Ana was solo here or something like that, maybe. And even then, it's just like, sometimes you can climb here, sometimes you can just stay on the ground here. And oh, the Ana walks, and then you just shoot. And then it's an easier angle because you're not dropping from an awkward position to hit the shots, right? It's ironic that I was sent on my server the Soul video, which I replied with like the acrobatics meme, because it really just feels like it's not just Soul, right? Like Soul feels like a really good example of it, or kind of like a figurehead in a way. I'm struggling to find a better word for it. Just kind of like the extreme example of doing all these shenanigans to make it work, right? Whereas a lot of Genji can just be chill, right? Just stop trying so hard. Stop trying so hard is the title of a video that I've meant to make for a long time, but all this stuff about video making I'm going to address in a channel update not too long from now. So I'm not gonna talk about it here. Also, this is just some terrible jumping. Like even on my first game on, I'm just hard rolling this duel. And if I played a little better, this should be triple headshot dash melee insta kill. It might not feel like you should be able to get the kills like this, but at the level of skill that I'm operating under, and especially the level of skill that I want to operate under, I'm not saying that I usually hit these, right? But I want to work my way up to much more consistently be able to punish this with a potential kill. Because this is a predictable trajectory, right? Maximizing my M1 is something that I've been working on for a while. And I just hard win the duel. And if you mean this push, is this one of the pushes that you meant, Tough? And yeah, I did fix the frame drops. Or at least hopefully for a long time. I mean, so far it has been fixed for today and yesterday. It's just a question of, is it gonna stay like this for a month or what? 2-1 fundamental? I mean, it is an amateur guide, right? Because it is from a player that hasn't done too much educational content, right? It's similar. It reminds me a lot of like my first Genji guide, which was like not a Genji guide. It was like a Genji drills video where I just talked, right? Nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just there are gonna be flaws because it is amateurish, right? Because the person hasn't had time enough to develop the skills, right? So like there's information overload, it's all over the place, etc. But in terms of the actual points that are being talked about, a lot of them are just like, yeah, you can do all these hitboxes manipulations to try and live more on bad dives, but you shouldn't be going for bad dives in the first place, right? It's just about that. I hard engage at 2v1 and just hit the shots. What are the Genji cooldowns? Genji has mostly stabilized because he got healing. Although he still doesn't have deflect. And more importantly, the Ashe coach gun is up top. I cannot really allow her to have this angle. If she's allowed to have this angle, we're gonna lose. Because our backline is gonna be forced into either hiding here, in which case the Hazard just walks up and gets a triple slash and we lose the fight. Or we're gonna be forced to give up all the space in the world, at which point either our Hazard gets isolated or the payload just pushes under, and then we basically just have to play to a stop checkpoint at that point. Like giving the Ashe this angle, which also will end up giving the Hazard this angle, just gives the enemy team the entire map. So here, yes, there is risk to this. But it's a risk where I have all my resources, and I know that this Ashe cannot be allowed to have this angle, so I have to fight her. It's not a matter of, could I do something safer? Alright, like, is this the safest thing in the world? It doesn't matter if this is the safest thing in the world, I have to do it. This angle is just that important, right? But also, it's not like there isn't fundamentals behind this. One, if I'm gonna fight the Ashe, I'm gonna fight her fast and up close. She doesn't have coach gun to run away. She's in a little bit of an island where the Ana doesn't have great LOS, the Juno is gonna struggle to heal her properly, right? The Hazard is not there to punish me, the Genji is down deflect, etc. I have resources, so I can dash, take the mini, steal it from her, get to full HP with the mini. I can deflect out over here or over here, and my team is here, right? My team can just, one break pack, one or two Ana shots, right? This is a fairly normal engage, I feel. Even though it feels flashy because I one-shot her. Truthfully, the one-shot doesn't matter as much. I probably hit triple body shot at worst, and then she's just forced to drop insta because she doesn't have support to stay here. The Genji might be able to, after, like, if the Ashe survives and then the Genji has resources and now I don't, the Genji might be able to take a little bit of this space. But the Genji taking this space is not as dangerous. Because, like, the Genji really needs to get a lot closer to be dangerous, and our backline is playing much further back. And after I back up, I'm still gonna be able to do a fairly good job at preventing the Genji from engaging. Not because I'm gonna be actively fighting him, but it's because if he engages, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna help deal the damage to punish him, right? Like if you're the enemy Hazard and you're thinking about engaging here, this is a fairly safe engage, 1v2, where none of them can shoot him from the back. But if there's a Genji sitting here, suddenly Hazard jumping, right, leaping into these players is not that safe because the Genji can go behind him and just shoot him in the back. And then he cannot block the damage very much. So even though in theory Genji is not very great at killing, the damage threat in this case is enough of a deterrent to the Haz leap that it becomes a lot harder for him to make it, or at least he needs to commit a full cycle, like full block, wall, etc. to make that jump because of the damage threat, right? Anyways.
I am healed. Can't have that.
But yeah, how would I have backed up? I shoot, and I deflect. And then I'm here. And then I'm good. And then if I need to further back, I can further back this way, I can further back this way, I can further back this way, wall climb, whatever. And if my supports don't heal me and they keep pushing, then GG's. But yeah.
Barricade moving.
That is their next. Keep up the pressure.
I don't know if I should have been the one on point here. I don't remember what I was doing, if I was reading chat, if I was just chilling because it's too early for me to take space. It's not that this space isn't relevant, it's not that setting up for backline is irrelevant, it's that sometimes you want to be the one pushing point so that characters with less mobility are allowed to take their setups, right? Like, I don't want my Ashe to be the one stuck on point because she's a victim to Hazard. If I stay point, I'm never a victim to Hazard because I have deflect and dash, right? And it also, like, a common mistake that Genji players make is just not playing slow, in that they try and set up too early. So like if I go here right now, their Genji is gonna duel me, and then he's gonna have more support than me most likely, so I'm gonna lose this position, I'm gonna lose my cooldowns. Whereas if I wait for my team to be in better positions, then I can take this fight, and I can actually use my resources to either prevent this Genji from using this area to go on my backline, or just straight up win this angle and actually boom their backline. Funnily enough, there was the last coaching session that I've posted on my coaching channel has been on this map, on this exact topic, where I talk about how Genji's value tends to get higher and higher the longer a fight goes on. So if you use your cooldowns too early in the fight, sometimes you're gonna be spiking your value in terms of your character, right? Your character spikes in value with cooldowns, right? In moments of the fight where you're not allowed to get that much value because there are a lot of tools to deny you from doing so. Whereas if the longer you wait, the more theoretical value you can get out of your cooldowns, because it's on moments of the fight where there are more and more vulnerabilities everywhere, right? That's not to say that you're never gonna use the cooldowns early and whatnot, right? But it's just a generally useful thing to think about. Yes, about like Genji, if you live to see more of the fight and you keep your resources, or rather you have resources, not necessarily keep, right? You can cycle them early and then wait 8 seconds and then have another cycle. If you just have resources later into a fight, you're gonna get more and more and more and more value, right? I can even show a game that I had yesterday that is like a really, really good example of this. Because the enemy team had a Genji that wanted to engage first all the time, and was hitting a lot of shots, and even then he was just, while getting kills, he was dying a lot, and I was just not doing anything all that flashy, and I was getting more kills than I just did more by doing less. Yeah, exactly, Simon, that video. Specific people on your team. I'm looking at things like cooldowns, I'm looking at things like positioning. I'm looking at activity from certain players, like their tank going in, my tank going in, etc. Like there are a lot of different factors that go into it. I can give specific examples for different fights, like this one, right? Where enemy team is dead / coming back from spawn, right? They still don't have setup, so there isn't much value for me to set up aggressively, take space, whatnot. So I'm just chilling for now. And you can see right here, right? Like if the Ashe takes this position right now, because the Hazard is here and has resources to go in her, she would immediately lose this angle. But imagine this Hazard jumps my Hazard and their Genji engages with this Hazard. Guess what this Ashe is suddenly allowed to do? Go chicken up top, take this angle, bully the enemy backline. Same concept for me on Genji, right? What are the things that can stop me from making the play that I want to make, take the position that I want to take? And when they're gone, right, you look out for those things, and when they're gone, you go ahead and do the thing that now is uncontestable. So Hazard jumps, and this guy is too early. Look at where his team is. So suddenly, oop, neuron activation. And then I'm gonna dash behind him, and suddenly our damage on him is so much higher. Hazard feels unkillable at times because everyone is shooting him from the front. The moment that you have a flex DPS going behind him, he suddenly takes damage. because he's not blocking most of the damage that's being dealt. So this guy just turbo ends. And what did I do? I just shot tank, right? Now I did shoot tank on a good window to shoot the tank, and I did so in the right way. I didn't shoot him from the front, I shot him from the back, etc., right? There are a lot of small details going on there, right? I don't want you to go ahead and be like, okay, just shot tank early and then the tank died. And so I will go into a game and I'll shoot tank early and oh wait, why is this tank not dying, right? But yeah. Bad sitting around. But that's the thing, right? You have to actually do something during that sitting around too. You're not just gonna be fully AFK. What's the first thing that I did on the game? I took this angle. Cause my hazard jumped their Ashe and forced her to back. Resources have been traded on the front line, so these guys don't have that many resources. So now there really isn't anyone that has the means to deny me this angle. So even though I don't currently have the setup that it takes to go on backline, which would be the most desirable play, right? I do have what it takes to win some space from this trade, right? That's the important thing. The enemy gives me a small advantage, I take the small advantage. The enemy gives me a big advantage, like the Hazard did here. I pounce on that and I gain a big value from it, right? I'm not trying to win more than the enemy is giving me. And whenever the enemy wins something, I give that to them, right? I'm not stubborn and try to fight for it, etc. Like, it would be easy to just be here and be like, I have a good setup. My Freya just died, but I have a good setup. I can fight this guy, or I can maybe use this walk climb to go on backline. If I go on backline, guess what? This Hazard is gonna hold my team hostage, and then I'm gonna be 1v3 and I'm gonna die. And I'm gonna stagger. And now the enemy team, rather than pushing over here, they're gonna push over here, because my team has to wait for me to spawn. Right? So the enemy gains a small advantage. I'm not gonna give up from the fight, but I'm gonna give them some space, right? I'm playing to back up and just trade some resources so they can't push us hard, they can't kill us. So I gave them a little bit. Fighting the Genji, I start to win a little bit, start thinking about walking, but I needed healing. I see the hazards trading, so I chill a little bit. Nothing really to do yet, right? Backline is not really vulnerable in this position. Our team can't quite push because the hazard made sure that we can't push, etc. Oh, here's the situation. Ashe goes high grounds. I need to contest that, and that is also potentially an opening for me to get a pick, right? Etc. You can see the push and pull in action essentially. Oh yeah. Also, let me drink a little bit of water. I've been talking a lot. Yeah, what up, Grayster? Should I call you Grayster or just Gray? Also, hello, can my PC respawn? Okay, there we go. So viewership shipping that bad. I don't remember usually when I get to 20 viewers. That's usually around the cap that I get. That's not too bad. Still wonder what another title would be getting though. Going against double flex DPS. Think about how can I best describe this? Something that Slay the Spire teaches very well is how best to make comparisons. Because when you're when you're offered a bunch of different card rewards, right? And the cards do different things. One deals damage, one blocks, or one deals damage in one way, right? Maybe physical damage, while the other one applies poison or whatnot, right? How can you compare them? Because they're not so direct. It's not like, this card deals 10 damage for one, and this card deals 25 damage for two. So maybe the two energy card is better because it does more, it's more damage efficient for the energy, right? Each energy is dealing 12.5 damage, right? It's not that straightforward. So one of the things that you have to think about is how can you try to put how can you try and twist essentially the understanding of the situation into something that makes them comparable. So the poison versus physical damage, well, what are the properties of poison? In Slade's Power, poison ticks down every turn. So let's say you apply 5 poison is gonna be 5 this turn, then 4 next turn, then 3, then 2, then 1. So in theory that card is 15 damage. That's a lot of damage, right? So then you can start to compare a little bit better, right? Okay, so this card is more damage, but it's less burst. And then you start to have some terms that are very useful for you, right? Okay, you can take 1 energy deal 10 damage now, or 1 energy apply 5 poison, which is gonna deal 10 damage or more than 10 damage in 3 turns. Gonna deal 9 after 2. How much do you value the burst versus just the energy efficiency for the damage? That is a lot more comparable than the 10 versus the 5 of different damage sources, right? In this case, what does a hit scan provide and what does a flex DPS provide? Well, hit scans provide a lot more weapon value. They have better guns, they deal more damage from further away, right? They tend to be more accurate, right? Genji landing damage from long range can be tough. Ashe, right? Hit scan, instant, right? You peek out, you get shot. You peek out at 20 meters away from a Genji, you don't really expect to take 150 damage, right? But what does the flex DPS have that the Ashe doesn't have? Well, mobility, right? Bulk, right? Genji is a character that can tank a lot more aggro than Ashe, etc. Right? So you try and compare the characters based on similar terminology in a way, to actually be able to make comparisons that let you understand what one is giving that the other one isn't, and vice versa, right? So in this case, one comp is going to be much better at moving around, and it's going to be harder to kill, but it's not going to have such threatening weapons at range, things like that, right? Now, this is a very generic way to talk about it, like different flex DPS work well differently, right? Like Xion, a lot of the times is played like a flex DPS, and she has better range pressure than most flex DPS, while also taking shallower angles than a lot of other flex DPS, sure, right? But you can try and think that way to try and see what they're gaining from a certain character and what they're losing from picking that character instead of having another one in that place, right? So if you're playing Genji into a lot of mobile characters, it's gonna be hard to nail down a kill like I did a lot of times with the Ashe this game, right? It's also a lot easier for them to chase you the moment that you become vulnerable. So you might need to be more cautious about your dash usage, because if you misuse dash, it's not just the Genji that can chase you, it's the Genji and the Tracer, right? So suddenly you can think about that. If they have double hit scan, well, you have to be a lot more cautious peeking anywhere because of the strong weapons, strong, reliable, accurate weapons. But also, they are not very good at chasing, and if you get on top of them, they don't handle that very well, right? So you can start to see the give and take of every character's characteristics, right?
Your team is close to
Yeah, the moment that the Haz is dead,
taking the lead.
I walk up here. Why? Because enemy team can't hold space very well. If they try to hold space, we have a hazard, they don't, they're gonna be bullied, they're gonna die. So I immediately take space the moment the hazard is dead. This Genji cannot stay here, because if he does, and tries to fight me, I have the same resources as he does. we're probably gonna go even. Even if he starts winning, I'm gonna have more resources to work with than he will have, because my supports are gonna be ready to help, and these supports are probably gonna be backing off, right? So I can just bully this Genji out of this position. If he stays, he's dumb. If he leaves, I just win the space, right? It's a lose-lose for him because his has just fed. That gives the space. And the Ashe tries to keep space when she can't really do that. So now, because I was allowed to gain this setup, boom, right? And we get the kill on her. I don't love this blade as much. My Ana was pressuring by saying ultimate's ready, I wanna ult, right? But I also don't hate this. Because yes, the Ashe is dead, but they have an active Bob. The enemy team is in theory in position to fight, and they're showing that they want to fight, right? They're using resources they're taking in this position. And if they want, they can commit more ults to this fight and win. If we use ults now though and get a team wipe, suddenly get checkpoints. And now the enemy is in danger, right? Because checkpoint's a big deal and push. And also, it's not like our opponents are always gonna take this fight without using ults, right? You can see that the Ashe already bobbed, right? So if we nanoblade, maybe they pop a hazard ult or nano or something like that, and then we win the fight and get ults out of it. Even if we don't get ults, it's still just fine, because then we trade progress made with ults for not really progress probably made with ults, right? We could just have a stalemate where they use ult and we use ult and nobody gains anything, or we can just have a situation where we gain progress, but this progress is much more meaningful for ults than maybe this small push that they get with ults, for example. So all in all, this blade idea is not bad. It's more advanced macro, but it's perfectly fine. It's also potentially a waste, but again, don't really care. It's also another situation where the ults, like going into an ult disadvantage because of this, right? Maybe using ults that you didn't have to here is slightly concerning, right? But what we gain is we gain something other than the ults, right? Now, sure, the opponents have an ult advantage, but we have an undeniable space advantage. Our setups are just better than theirs. So we actually have the means to fight through an ult disadvantage, either by giving up the space and disengaging from their ults, kiting, or by just kind of overcoming the power spike of the ults with the power spike that is provided by our positions being better, right? So let me drink more water. And their hazard is just trolling at this point. This player, I think, is just like a little bit too scared of the amount of push that we're getting right off the bat, so he's just engaging too early. Again. And because, again, setup quality, which is what I talked about, the Ashe is not even on a good angle for right now. The Ashe is going to be on a good angle for after the barricade push is still a good amount. And even then, because we're allowed to take so much space, I can actually take a setup to remove this Ashe position, whereas usually I would not have the type of luxury. Usually the Ashe would be able to coach gun here, and I would still be sitting around here or here, and I would have to take like a 5-10 second detour plus commit a dash engage to get here. And here, I can go here without even using dash. I have dash to get back to my team, right? Again, give and take. And I just hit shots, so I just commit. Because they have ult advantage, so just the trades are just good. Also, if I'm even a little bit faster here, I can even just force them to commit even harder to get the kill on me. So it's not even just a pure 1-for-1 trade, it's a 1-for-1 trade where I'm forcing more resources out of them, right? Because I get the kill and force the Juno and the Genji and whatever to look. So again, more barricade. Again, you can see the distance from the hazard, right? This distance that I'm keeping from the hazard is what's preventing him from jumping at me and having him remove my positioning. And this is an interesting thing, right? I want to be able to access backline eventually. That's why I'm hanging around here and not here to poke the hazard, right? Because this is an area of access to backline once they walk up. But if I stay too close, right, let's say I try to be here to access backline, because the enemy is not committed yet, they can just spend resource forcing me out. And then once the backline walks here, I have used dash out, I don't have dash in. But if I hang back now, sure, I'm not in position to engage backline now, but I couldn't engage that regardless, and now my opponents cannot force me out. It takes too much for them to go here and then fight me. They cannot fight me here, essentially. Or if they do, it's just a fair fight for me. It's not a fight where I push here now that Genji has Ana support. No, the Genji wants to prevent me from using this angle eventually. He needs to take a fair 1v1 against me. And then later, once these guys decide to go here, if they do, then I can take the now free angle in a moment of the fight where everyone is fighting, etc., to access backline, right? So I take a step back to be able to take a step forward in the future. Alright, this might be very relevant for you, Tough, from what you were talking about. You can see here, right, that the Genji really wants to take this angle away from me. But look what happens to him.
Watching the robot.
Right? Hazard and Ashe. He can't push me. He simply cannot. So he'll have to go somewhere else. And that means giving me this, right? So I'm just chilling. Now, our team ended up just giving a bunch of space because they used Juno ult. So we didn't want to fight, we could not hold the space and whatnot. So now I'm not actually going to have the access to the backline. But still not a terrible angle. And I can always just back up. And I got pushed here. A little bit unfortunate, I got booped by the slash. Probably a ping interaction here, where when I dashed, or when I reacted, I was aiming this way, but Hazard had already booked me and caused my dash to screw up, so he could have actually killed me here, right? You do always need to be careful about these walls. And maybe I need to be more careful playing around Hazard because I'm on ping, making those plays where I'm low latency. The Hazard is basically never gonna catch you here. Right, and then I just waste the Hazard's cooldowns, and now we can push in after the Hazard goes on me, and we can retake the space, right? But yeah, what was it that you typed earlier? Ego peeking the Widow, unexpected engages. There's anything that you find worth talking about that I haven't yet, let me know. Both Tough and the rest of chat. Mainly talking, or I'm singling out Tough just because he's expressed extra interest in this replay. Also, no frame drop so far. Absolutely zero. And yeah. Okay, trade 1 for 1. Ashe is here. This guy can't engage this. He did not hit enough shots. He can push, because his team is here, right? If he backs up, he will have Ana support, right? He has the cooldown, right? He has the positioning, etc. He has the fundamentals to make this play. Right, this is not a bad play. You cannot commit to dash after the deflect. Either has to dash early on dash for more burst, and also to save his HP, right? Using the dash to dodge the Ashe's shots, essentially. Which is kind of also the purpose of my early dash, right? My early dash here is not only to get close to the Ashe, but also to make it so I can take some time to aim follow-up, because the Ashe is adjusting to where I just moved towards, right? So my dash movement serves as a dodge that gives me time to land damage, right? So you can kind of view a dash through someone as a mini deflect, right? It keeps you safe for a small amount of time, right? And this player decided to close the gap by just walking, shooting, and preserving his resources, right? Maybe deflect as walk up, right? And dash if you see someone low. But the moment that he doesn't land enough damage, dash drops and has Ana support and whatnot, this Genji needs to disengage. And also, I was here. So the scary thing for him is that, like, by doing this, now I am gonna have my resources, and because he used the resources on the Ashe, but the Ashe is trading evenly with him, now I have a resource advantage on the Genji and I can push him. So the first thing I do is potentially steal the mini, and then after, because he committed, he just dies, right? Maybe he trades. If he hit the shot, then he trades, and that's fine, right? But that would be more so him turning a bad decision into an okay one because he just hit the shots that that were really hard and weren't likely to be hit anyway, right? There's a massive difference between what this Genji did here and what I did over here on the map. Both times they were down 1. Do you remember exactly when it is? The Tracer flanking your backline. What are you set up to do? Are you set up to fight the Tracer, or are you set up to fight the Ashe? If you're set up to fight the Ashe, then obviously fight the Tracer, right? I mean, it's a joke. I did not really bother too much with just like delivering the joke, like making the the tone of my voice, right, setting it up and everything. But yeah, if you're set up to fight the Ashe, you fight the Ashe. If you're set up to fight the Tracer, you fight the Tracer. Which one is more valuable? I don't know. That's up for you to decide in the moment. And then if you choose wrong, you learn from it, right? The truth is, like, a lot of the times in this game, people overthink, oh, it's my job to do this, so I'm gonna do this the whole game, right? So the enemy team has a Widow and you're playing Genji, I need to go on the Widow, I need to go on the Widow. If the Widow is not available, right? It's not a situation where you should be going on the Widow, and instead there's an opportunity for you to go on the enemy tank, you should not ignore the tank and go on the Widow. You should go on the tank. Sure, you're more likely to have good opportunities on the Widow than on the tank, probably. But if you're set up for the tank and not the Widow, right, then you go on the tank, etc. So it's like about how convenient something is, and also about you and just your game sense of understanding, okay, what is the highest value thing that I can do in any given moment. After I killed Ashe, you mean here? Right. Here? Is this when I stay in the fight? I mean, here I stay in the fight because the Hazard and the Genji already used their spikes. Leap, wall, dash, etc. Right? So I walk climb because this means that they can't follow up on me because their damage is so proximity based. And in the meantime, my Ana can heal me up. And now that I've been healed up, I can go back in the fight. Now that their spikes are over. Also, it's not like I'm gonna get to just wait 8 seconds to have a full reset before fighting. A fight is still happening. I'm gonna take a soft reset, one that does not involve me recovering every single cooldown, if I don't have it, and then fighting again because there is still action. And my team wants me to take action, right? Now, if I didn't have enough resources to fight anything meaningful, or I thought that chilling for 5 seconds rather than fighting in suboptimal conditions, and then, fighting for suboptimal conditions instead of chilling for 5 seconds and then having a big burst of value, right? I could make that evaluation too, but in this case, just fight. I can, right? There's no long range threat anymore, so I can just peek and snipe and provide some value or like close the gap. What is the other moments? And the early blade. I mean, the early blade already explained that. It was like my Ana really wanted to make this play pretty much. Like that's what she was saying with like spamming ultimate ready button. And I kind of agree that this was just a fine blade, and I already explained my reasoning earlier. So I don't really feel like there's much to be added unless you have like specific questions. We're gonna disengage. And then I believe we were analyzing, yeah, somewhere around here. And oh yeah, you probably are wondering about this. Right? Why do I choose to fight this guy rather than backing off? I dash the mini, I'm full HP. What's the cooldown status on this guy? No wall, no leap. So sure, Hazard is scary, but also his spike is gone. Right? I don't have deflect, but he does not have the damage spike that I really need deflect for. Right? And right now, he is just like really deep and we have a player advantage. I know that I'm not gonna have support here, but like in the 2 seconds that it takes for me to earn another dash, right? Because of swift cuts, he's not gonna kill me unless he's the GOAT. And that's a risk I'm willing to take because this is just too good for me not to do, right? Like you can see that even if I'm not relying on swift cuts, maybe if I just shot him and I didn't slow down my damage by adding in melees, I would have killed him before he even got a second leap, right? So like I'm very safe. Very, very safe. And I really want that hazard stagger. If I am not the one pushing him, he might be able to get to walk over here safely, and then maybe he gets close to self regen and he has a leap and he can leap here and just block out with Ana pocket, whatnot. No, if I go here, he cannot ignore me, because if he ignores me, he just dies insta, so he needs to first fight me, and that means staying. That means if he stays, then more likely for him to die, because he's not moving to safety. Nowadays I default to swift cuts. I feel like I've gotten very good at using it. I like the options it provides me in terms of gameplay. And I've been feeling less and less inclined to take the blade lifesteal. Partly because character releases and also just like the elo. Like it's not like Dragon's Thirst isn't good in high elo and whatnot, right? But it does feel like a lot of the plays that I went for with Dragon's Thirst, which you're gonna see in some of my videos talking about it, are plays where I just wipe whole teams on my own. They're either not as feasible, or the important thing is they're not necessary. Because Dragon's Thirst kind of allows you to brute force some fights that shouldn't otherwise be winnable. But how valuable are those fights to be winnable anyways? Or is it to make those fights winnable? Right? I think it's more valuable in maps like Escort, Hybrid, maps that have really tricky positions to push, right? Positions that can take you, if you don't have good autonomy, can take you minutes and minutes, right? You get to the end of King's Row, enemy can easily hold for 4 or 5, right? Circuit Royale, same thing. Blizzard World second, it's not even third point. Second point you can hold for 5 minutes, right? Things like that. Dragon Source has a lot more value because you can make bigger blade plays, and you need that extra power boost to be able to overcome the defender's advantage plus the spawn advantage, things like that. So yes, you use it very differently, because if you're not gonna make such big blades, there is no point taking the lifesteal, right? So basically, I'm just at a point where I feel very comfortable around the perks, where I'm just like, I'm trying to min-max their value. It's not that Dragon Source is bad. I feel like in a vacuum, for a long time, I've thought that it's better than Swift Cuts. But weirdly enough, I'm just picking Swift Cuts now. And probably because I've just believed that Swift Cuts is better now. It's also a lot of the times more enjoyable to play with Swift Cuts. Your neutral being buffed versus your ult being buffed means that you get to play with the perk for for larger portions of the game, right? So there's just always gonna be this interesting give and take. There are pros and cons to both. I just personally think that I can find good blade value without Dragon's Thirst, and some of the value that you can get from Dragon's Thirst, which I was using before, I feel like was cool, but it was also just kind of me making bad plays, or not necessarily bad plays work. It's just needlessly greedy plays, where my team loses 2 and I blade because I have Dragon's Thirst and then I kill 4. I don't really need to take a perk to win those fights. It's also questionable how much value that even is providing you, right? Anyways, there are a lot of thoughts. I also feel like part of it is just a map pool. As time has gone on, people have started to pick Flashpoint and push a lot more. I basically never see Escort or Hybrid anymore. And so the Dragon's Thirst loses value while Swift Cuts gain value. A lot of value. From the types of maps and from the characteristics of the modes that are just played, right?
My ultimate is charged. They want to fight, huh? Let's get it to them. Barricade.
And it's also just a situation where for all I've said, Dragon's Thirst might still be better as a perk. It very well might be just that I've picked Dragon's Thirst for so long that just the break from it, just trying something different, is allowing me to focus more on the games, and that's giving me more performance. It's also good to just sometimes break things up and try something different, just to make sure that you don't end up overlooking a certain idea, right? You don't end up creating a weakness in your gameplay because you grow too reliant on the lifesteal, right? Like making sure that you can still blade and blade well if you only have 250 HP to work with, etc. Also, when playing with Swift Cuts, because you don't have the lifesteal, you kind of have to think about blade differently. So if you just play with Dragon's Thirst, you might be thinking too much about big blades and you might overlook small opportunities for blades, like a 1k that's likely to just win you the fight, things like that. So just changing your perspective on things, even if not ideal in theory, might be what you need. And the best example I can give for that is blade twisting, the 25 damage on the dash, right? I think it is by far worse than meditation, and it was even before the buff to meditation. But I still actually ended up having a really great time actually picking blade twisting not too long ago. I played a lot of games with the swift cuts plus blade twisting, and the reason is the burn activation. Trying something different. Blade twisting gives you more confidence to go for low HP kills. And not just that, it kind of forces you to do so, because otherwise you're just wasting the value of the perk. So you kind of are forced to just take more engagements, take more quote-unquote risks to get value out of it, right? Swift cuts comboed with it especially means that you kind of want to dash, melee twice, and then dash one more time, right? And kind of double dip on that value. And that experience, even if I don't think it's the better perk, helped me improve as a player, right? So it's just useful to experiment, do different things, get out of your comfort zone, right? Anyways, I'm gonna get back in like a minute. I'm gonna go grab more water. I've been talking too long. I really don't think that meditation makes you play slower. If anything, I feel like meditation just makes you play faster. Because now, kind of like the bar, like the requirements that have to be met for you to make an engagement are lower. Because you have more health to work with. It's a simple question of why can tanks engage more than other DPS, right? Why can a hazard leap every 6 seconds versus a Genji maybe only dashing every 8 or not even that, right? It's because the hazard has more HP to work with. He's tankier, so he can. And so he must, right? Yes, it is. So the moment that when you dive someone, instead of having 250 HP, you have 320, accounting for a full heal with the DPS passive, or the healing passive rather, because it's now used by everyone. Suddenly, the requirements for that engagement to be doable are a lot lighter because you have so much more health. Now you're not always gonna use the full healing from meditation, right? There's always that to be considered with like, okay, how much should I expect this perk to do? How much does this actually change, right? But again, I feel like Swift Cuts and Meditation is a really nice combo. Makes your neutral so much deadlier, because you can engage a lot easier, because you improve your range, and not even just range, even if you're close, you can use your dash a lot more freely, because now you can dash in the middle of a combat and still have dash to disengage, and that dash in the middle of combat is great, one for damage, but especially for the dodge aspect, right? We talked about that earlier. And then the meditation is just more stats, right? And more stats than blade twisting too, right? So blade twisting is also more stats, but it's less more stats, whereas meditation is more and more stats. They got the jump on me, instead of just being stubborn and taking the fight, I just take a small space loss, especially because they had Nano Hazard. Instead of just trying to fight the Genji and then maybe the Hazard also jumps on me or something. And now I'm a weakness and the opponents can maybe kill me or win a lot of space. I just lose deflect and give up space. And yeah, it's just like... this Hazard really hates me. You can see how much I'm taunting him, right? And I understand him. He does not want me to have the angle. It is scary, right? And also he wants to make a play. And making a play on the Hazard does not feel good. But at the same time, I'm so far away that it's just like, it's really hard for him to do something. Now, it does suck that I'm on ping. So I deflect and I still take the swing damage. Could have reacted faster? Yes. It is hard to react to that though. Like, it's relatively fast. So like on low latency, this is getting cut close. On high ping, you're kind of expecting to get hit by the swing. But even then, I'm still just fine. And now the important thing is, why am I back in? Well, the enemy backline was further back. We're in kind of in a position to fight here. And the Hazard, once again, has already used his value spike. He used leap, he used wall, heck, he even ulted already. And I'm full HP again, because my supports healed me. And everyone is now also shooting this Hazard. So now he's not the aggressor anymore. The situation has flipped, in that the disengagement is over and he now needs to get out after doing the play that he could make. He does not have the resources to stay anymore, because he did not win the trade. If he won the trade, then I would not be able to get back in. But because he used his cooldowns in and got some cooldowns traded, but not enough to just win the space, he now needs to leap out. So I go back here to try and punish, because I know that he is not allowed to look at me. Because what happens if he tries to look at me right now with this HP? He dies. And same thing for the Genji. The Genji is not allowed to stay. Heck, even trying to run away, the Hazard still died. And that's part of why I was playing further back, right? If I was playing here, he wins the space, I lose my resources, and he doesn't take the damage. But I was baiting, I was playing further away here, because I know that I'm never gonna get to engage the backline this early anyways. So I might as well play further away to make sure that the Hazard doesn't get to prevent my setup, right? Take away my setup. And now we can just slowly walk up and take the space advantage, because we have a tank. And here, I just misplayed this, by the way. I was trying to jiggle peek, but I peeked too early, I think. I did not notice how far in peeked. Yeah, I end up peeking a little bit too much. But the idea is bait the shot and then peek.
Get the robot back to our barricade.
But like you can see right here, right? I'm not disrespecting the Widow. I'm using Discover, and then the moment I have dash, instantly dash here and go inside. Right? Navigating inside. Maybe engage when I have cooldown, but probably just hold the space, make sure that this Widow is really cramped, she has no sightlines. If she wants sightlines, she walks into me and dies, right? Not being able to engage is not necessarily a bad thing. If you're controlling good space, not engaging is oftentimes to your benefit, because your opponent has to spend resources to force you out, and they have to spend resources just to get to you. So at that point, if the Genji dashes into this room, I can take the fight. If the Widow tries to take this angle and ignores this, then I fight her. But if the Widow stays here, close to the Hazard and the Ana and whatnot, then dashing is stupid. But the moment that they stop this, I can engage on her, right? Yeah, because tank is usually the most reliable target. and the off angle is where I will take the least damage, and I'll be able to find the best angles to hit enemies from, at least with a lot of the weapons that I have. But even with hit scan weapons, just off angles are just good, right? People are prepared for the main angle much more than they are for the off angles, right? It's also part of the value of flex DPS, right? Sure, flex, or rather, in this case, I'm thinking about the defending flex DPS, right? Because the flex DPS going on the offensive is going to be taking the angle to try to create a vulnerability on the opponents, whereas the flex DPS defending is going to try and deny that, right? So like, this is why whenever I'm playing ball, I get so frustrated when I have a double hit scan lineup, because the moment that the enemy team has a flex DPS walking on a side angle, or just a tank like Sigma that just denies hit scans from playing the game, they can't do anything, because they don't have the bulk, they don't have the mobility to take those angles and be fine. They will get walked over. So some people will look at my gameplay and be like, wow, this guy is not that flashy, this guy is not really hitting one shots. I mean, I did hit a one shot. In fact, I had really good mechanics this game. But a lot of people do tend to look at my gameplay and be like, wow, this guy is not actually all that good, right? But the thing that those people are looking at is just like the mechanics, or rather the lack of flashness. That's what they're trained to see, right? A lot of Genji players are trained to see just one shot, one shot, one shot. Mechanics, right? That's the culture on the character. Not a lot of Genjis are trained to see the value of the angles being taken and of the timing and whatnots, right? It's the eye discussion that I had with Spyro and Stefano, right? There was a segment where we were talking about this. It's not only that that we play differently, our eyes are trained to see different things. I bet some other Genji player, let's say Alvakits in this case, right? Alvakits could go ahead and look at my VOD and be like, whoa, you missed like 5 opportunities to just dash and kill a Nana, because she was vulnerable. And I could go ahead and look and be like, well, she isn't vulnerable, but maybe he sees something about the Ana that gives him confidence that she is vulnerable that I can't see because I haven't done that much, right? I haven't played in that way, right? To spot vulnerabilities in situations where otherwise you might not believe there's a vulnerability, right? Like maybe he can spot the Ana moving in a straight line a little bit faster than I can, right? Something like that, right? He's not the best example here, right? But kind of like this thing, right? Which I find very interesting. These players are in this case disrespecting my skill, not because they're egotistical. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes they just think that they're better, right? But a lot of times it's literally out of ignorance. They literally cannot see the value of what I'm doing. They cannot understand why I'm winning games, right? Which is very interesting. Anyways, W gameplay stream. Don't you guys think? I played one game and it said it has been 100 minutes. That is so funny. Was there another game that I wanted to think about? Can't remember off the top of my head.
Ready for battle.
Acha, I'm going to play this game from the enemy Genji's POV and then from mine. Oh wait, is this not it? No, this is not it. Oops. This one? Yes, this one.
Ready for battle. 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna play this from this Genji's POV and then from mine, and I want to analyze the differences. And by analyze, I mean I'm probably not going to be talking all that much. I've already talked a lot, so I'm going to rest my voice a bit. But I want you guys to look at the differences between the way that this game is playing and the way that I'm playing. Especially through the context of what I've talked about before in the stream. That you guys can maybe see a little bit of the contrast, right? Because a lot of what I've done so far with the reviewing has just been showing my perspective, right? I want to show a Genji that is playing a lot of what people consider to be more aggressive, right? Which is just the dashing in and just taking risks and whatnot. And a lot of the time is getting away with it because they're going to be hitting the shots, right? I want to show that. And I want people to look at how, despite all that, why it's failing and why I'm the one succeeding here. I'm gonna play this. Is shoot speed 2 times, or sorry, it's shoot time speed too much for you guys? I'm very used to watching VODs at 2 times speed, but if you want I can do normal speed. It's gonna take a while, but I can do normal speed. I can also potentially just show only the engages, right? The kills and the deaths, and compare between me and this guy to further drive the point home. I think I'm just gonna be speeding up as I find appropriate.
You're powered up. Get in there. We're leaving with
This is your warning. Charging through. We got him where we wanted.
Maybe I can skip some of this and show more of the later rounds. I think this round is not that eventful. Let's see. Oh, this was a really nice combo. He gets me through the deflect. Because he goes from the side. And then he beefs his blade. Also, so far, look at the KDs, right? This guy is 2 and 3. I'm 6 and 2, and this guy has played fairly aggressive, don't you guys think? Not the most aggressive game you have ever seen, of course, but this guy has taken a fair amount of aggressive positions, aggressive dashes, a lot of risks. At the moment that he was controlling 3 players in the backline on his own, while low on HP, by using cover and stuff, right? Gets Nano, he's going hard in backline. Look at what I do this fight.
You're powered up. Get in there. We're with it.
The objective is in my hands.
Double kill.
See the difference? Which Genji worked harder? Which Genji feels like they believe in their mechanics more? Also, I do wonder how much delay is there between what I say and when people see it. Because now I don't have frame drops anymore. I have which mode on? Low latency mode. I don't remember how much delay there is to that. Okay, I'm gonna say a word, and you're gonna type the word when you hear it, okay? Banana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, accounting for like the time that it takes to hear and type. It's not that long, right? It's good to know. Okay. Is Sisyphus? Yeah. And the thing is, that Genji is good mechanically, right? But that Genji is also having to work twice as hard for the kills as I am. I got a nano, so that the squishes were far. I shot the big target in front of me and the big target died. Okay, the rest of the targets are still far away, and there's a nano Genji in front of me. I'm just gonna shoot the nano Genji. And then after that, oh, the Ana is isolated. So I dash her, and then I shoot. She's walking a straight line. And then I go back here, and then the soldier's distracted, and then it's easy, right? It's so much, the stuff that I'm finding is so much easier, right? It's not, and sometimes I used to believe that sometimes some players got luckier, right? They just had better opportunities than I did. No, that's just because they put themselves in positions to see stuff that is easier, right?
The forest has been cut down.
This Genji is putting himself in a position where he has to hit really hard shots. In the middle of 4 people, he is moving around a ton. He's not staying on the ground. He's not being the most disciplined with his aim and whatnot. He has to hit really hard shots. And now this time, he did not have to do something that tough, and he got more kills, right? Anyways, I'm gonna leave this playing for a bit. Fight's kind of a wash. Ah, this is a good one. That one is just good, right? That one is just a good play. But you can see zero hesitation here. Absolutely zero hesitation. Trades his life.
Securing the objective.
Quick stat check. Actually, I have more depth than this guy at this point. That's funny. Ooh, this is a main character blade. And it's not even that bad. Like, I could see myself going for this sometimes. The problem is that it does not know what is happening in the rest of the fight to know if the Kiriko is available to help, if the Kiriko has Suzu or not, right? He just saw what was in front of him and bladed, and did not consider what would happen if he didn't insta-kill Ana.
Finally, a real challenge.
Also, he stays here and fights. He does not back up. So now look at what he has to do to win, right?
Not everyone escapes their
Come to me for heal.
No deflect. Full HP. Genji on him. Sees the Ana, he has no ammo.
I'm on fire.
And in the meantime, look at my POV here. Oh yeah, here. It's so chill, right? Like, I got a lot of kills. It's not like I didn't put in any effort, right? But it's so more chill. And there Genji is doing all these acrobatics, and he's dead. And I think he got 0 in this fight, right? And now he has more deaths than me.
Arigato.
And he's trying so hard to go for the Tracer kill and whatnot. But the Tracer kill is just too much to go for right now. The Tracer has every single cooldown. Yes, this Tracer was not the greatest Tracer player because it wasn't a Tracer player, it was a hitscan shopping the Tracer. Alright. And this player did get a few amount of kills on this Tracer. Still does not mean that he can just dash the Tracer and always get a kill. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna put the tank poke in the bag. I'm gonna put the space control in the bag. And all their Genji is just on the side fighting for his life against the Tracer. I'm just here chilling. And wow, here's a Kiriko that's walking a straight line. Right? Where is next fight? And the moment that he starts to get a value is the moment that there is a vulnerability to begin with in the fights, right on the Reinhardt. Reinhardt took too much damage. Now he can snowball from there, right? Oh yeah, and speaking of the different blades, that's all I want, right? That's all I need in that situation. This blade gets one, don't greed for anything else.
Each journey has its trials.
1 HP, does not care.
Triple kill.
I am here. Be careful.
Visually, this guy looks like the better Genji, right? But even through all that, he's still just doing so much less than me. And you would expect someone like this to just even be like, you would expect me to have worse stats too. No, I have better stats than this guy. I'm not just getting some abstract value and just matching this guy or even outvaluing him through a different way. No, even in the stats department, I'm doing fine. Right? It looks so much better than it actually is. Right, like right now, his Mulga is in. Everyone is turning on him. The Xana is low on CDs and whatnot. Guess what? This Genji engaged too early, so he does not have the opportunity to come in right now through this flank and hard pressure the Xana. Right? Because this guy tried too hard to do something on the backline 1v5. Some of it is ego, right? But also a lot of players do this without even noticing. And the reason is because a lot of the game is played through, guess what? Your own POV, right? So it's not a surprise that when you go into the game and you go here and you think, okay, how can I best utilize my character? Oh, I'm playing Genji, I want to get up close, right? This is not surprising. So the Genji in theory is correct in that, yes, he likes going on squishies, he wants to be up close, etc. Right? That's not wrong, but that's missing information, right? And so a lot of people just get so stuck focusing on these characteristics, which are very important parts of the character they are playing. It's not wrong to think those things, that they don't even notice that they also have to think about these other aspects of like the when they should get close, when they should go on the squishies, right?
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadruple kill. Quintuple kill. Sextuple kill.
And I feel like it's a very easy mistake to make too, because if you start to struggle, right, and you feel like you're playing well, right, you're hitting a lot of shots, maybe even a lot of combos, right, you're performing, and then your teammates are bums and they go 0-0-7, right? It's very easy to start doubting yourself and be like, wait a second, do I even, like, if I'm consistently losing, if my teammates are consistently bad, right? Like, unless you're one of those that believes that like the matchmaker is against them or something like that. Also, hello, why am I getting a latency spike in Overwatch? What? I'm not having frame drops this time, but my Overwatch is lagging. Anyways, if you're not one of those, you're gonna start to ask yourself, okay, but am I playing the character wrong, right? Am I doing something wrong? What do I need to do differently? And a lot of the fixing that's gonna come is from your biased perspective of yourself, right? Of like the character that you're playing. It's gonna come from, okay, what does Genji do? Oh, Genji fights people up close. Genji has good burst, etc. Genji goes in squishies, and you're gonna remind yourself of these fundamentals, and unknowingly you're going to walk yourself into these traps, or you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna set up on this high ground, and the moment that Anne is walking through the choke, I'm gonna drop from the high ground and I'm gonna go on her. Because, and the reason why this is so vicious, right? Such a good trap is because the rationale is correct. It's just that it lacks information, right? You are supposed to get close. You are supposed to go in squishes if you can. It's just not at that moment. there is a better moment for you to do that, right? I would rather the Genji get up close than never get close, but I'd also rather the Genji get up close at the right time than to get close in the wrong time, if you know what I mean. Right? So there are levels to it, there are different levels of play. You can play well, and you can play well-er, right? So if you're only thinking about, oh, I'm playing really well, so must be my teammate's fault, or you start doubting the stuff that you know and stuff like that because you visually perceive that you're performing but you're still not winning. You're probably not gonna be able to look at the right things because you're not even perceiving them, essentially, right? Anyways, I don't think I'm getting to put this in the best wording, so like it's not concise, but I'm getting the point across, I think, or I hope.
I cherish every victory.
Double kill. Triple kill.
A lot of the skills in Overwatch are just like very hard to understand. Goats was a comp back in Overwatch 1, right? That took a lot of skill, but everyone watching would not be able to understand that skill because everyone was like, they're just clumping together and fighting, right? It's just two groups of 6 just mashing heads against one another. No, that's not what Goats was. Goats was one of the most skillful metas in the entirety of Overwatch's existence. But because people are not trained to see a lot of the skills that these players are putting to play, right? The micro interactions of like the whip shots and the DMs and the bubbles and the whatnots, right? The space that they're taking, when they're taking it, the outlaying, etc. They're not gonna understand the skill of the comp. So a lot of the Genjis will look even at my gameplay and be like, oh no, Genji, Poke is just like, Poke won that Colosseum match because of his mechanics. I mean, yeah, partly. But that's not the main reason why I won, right? So if someone isn't trained to see something, right, they haven't encountered the concept yet, or they haven't practiced looking at the concept to really like be able to visualize the thing that can't be visualized, quote unquote, then they're gonna struggle in that sense, right? Because like on the Colosseum match, one of the first things I did was notice the empty flank, right? So despite operating under the exact same vision as every other Genji player would in that situation, where offered the exact same information, what my eyes are perceiving is different, because my eyes are searching for different things than what the other players would. A lot of the players would be looking for isolated targets, targets that are in 15-meter range, etc, etc, whereas my eyes are looking for the vulnerabilities on the space, right? Things like that. I'm only really going to be looking for the kill opportunities later on after I have the setup, right? Things like that. You would crumble? Probably. I know a lot of Marvelous players that have tried to play Overwatch after playing Marvels, and they are so much worse. So much worse. Marvel is such a less demanding game.
Double kill.
I mean, if you wanna practice something, a lot of the times the answer to it is just do it more, right? It's not a fun answer to just be like, yeah, you wanna get better at the 180 combo? Just do it more. Just do 180, 180, 180, 180, right? Use some sort of metric to measure it, right? Go to a workshop that can measure it. Go into a name trainer, just play it more, measure results, etc. Usually practice just goes like that. There can be more optimal practice. Practice is just gonna offer you better results for the time invested, but a lot of the times it is just practice more.
Double kill. Triple kill.
My enemy's trouble.
But also, here's another one.
Double kill.
And this is something that I really should make a video about, because it's not very hard to make the video. I already know how I would talk about it, and it's fairly fast too. You said that you're a plat, right? Think about a gym. Think about building muscle, okay? How much can you bench? I don't know if you have done any bench presses before, Ryan. If you don't, we're just gonna take a hypothetical here, right? But if you have, it's easier. Or we can just take anyone, like if anyone in the chat has ever done some sort of exercise like this, right? I chose bench because like bench press is one of the one that's most commonly used, right? As comparison benchmark or whatever. But anything will do, right?
Burn like the dawn.
Double kill. Double kill. Double kill.
Quite the battle.
Triple kill. Quadruple kill.
武家の方なり
Play on 120. I mean, it can influence. It's more. I mean, usually what latency is gonna do is delay the actual the registration, not the combo itself. But there are some characters that work a lot worse on latency than others. Doomfist is gonna have rubber bands, so you're gonna do like a punch cancel, and then your character is gonna, instead of just punching forward, it's gonna just like kind of have a hiccup situation, right? I can show something here.
ありがとう
Like here. Right? In theory, I'm swinging this guy when he is not here. But it's because on my screen, I swing him when he's here, but because of the latency, the registration is gonna happen here. Or sorry, the hit registration happens here because it's client-sided, but the damage is gonna be server-sided, right? So I still landed the swing, I still landed the combo or whatever you want, right? The latency does not affect the combo unless it adds something client-sided as an issue, like a rubber band with the Doom Punch, providing delayed movement, right? Or a visual bug with the movement, right? It's not that I'm swinging this guy and killing him out of range, it's that the hit registration happens here and the damage happens when he's here, which creates a funny situation, but everything is working as intended considering that I'm playing on ping, right? But yeah, let's go back to the gym thingy, right? Let's even just use character examples. Let's say that I'm Genji, right? I'm a very good looking dude. I am strong, right? Genji has good muscles, right? He's very athletic. He can bench a lot, let's say. Let's say that Genji can bench, I don't know, 100 kilograms. I don't know. I'm not up to date with gym stuff. I haven't done gym stuff. I do calisthenics at home with gymnastics rings. So it's just own body weight. So I don't know these things. I don't know how much Genji should be able to bench, right? But let's just say that he can do that, right? 2 plates, whatever, right? Now, how much can Mauga bench? Trice is amount? No. I don't think Trice is giving enough credit. This guy is gigantic. And not just a muscle difference, it's a size difference, and the size difference means that he has just that much or more muscle. Right? He benches the gym. Like this guy could bench. I mean, this guy could probably bench at least half a ton, no? Like, this physique wouldn't exist IRL, and I think that like some of the strongest men in the world can bench like 400 kilos, no? So like, I think saying that Mauga could bench half a ton would be underplaying his strength, right? But let's just say that, half a ton, right? You as a plat Genji trying to 180 a tracer of all characters reliably, instantly, no delay, is like you trying to bench what Mauga can bench with this body. The truth is, a lot of the culture around Genji has essentially normalized ideals that are simply unhealthy or unrealistic, right? A champ Genji is rarely going to 180 a tracer, dash 180 a tracer. Not just because it's hard even for that Genji to do reliably. The best players in the world are not the best because they hit the hard shots all the time. They are the best because they hit the hard shots sometimes, but they hit the easy shots almost always, right? It's something that Surefor has made a video talking about a long time ago, right? But if you also have to consider the tracer is going to make it harder, right? The tracer is going to be trying to dodge. The tracer is rarely going to be vulnerable to such a combo in the first place, right? Unless there's a massive skill difference between the tracer and the Genji. And even then, even if there is that skill difference and the tracer is really slow, even then the Genji still has to land the combo. And oftentimes if you're going for the combo, you need to land it for the plate to be good. So it needs to be reliable. So there's so many things to be put in place. And even then you're not going to expect the champ Genji, right? One of the best Genjis in the world, even the best Genji in the world, to be landing that consistently, right? And players, or in this case of this analogous, these people are expecting with this body to be able to bench what this guy can bench. You see the problem? So you are always going to be disappointed by your performance. Always. You're never gonna get to the skill level that people advertise as being what Genji players are supposed to do. Because guess what? What is advertised isn't even doable, isn't even being showcased by the people that are talking about it in the first place. Heck, in a way, if you want the analogy to be even more real, right? To make the analogy even better, it would be almost as if not only is this guy telling you that you're supposed to practice until you can bench that, you're supposed to practice until you can bench that while not using a single steroid. This physique is not natural. No way. I mean, of course, you also have the true hearts thing, right? But let's ignore that, right? Simply not doable, right? And also, they're advertising something that they can't even do. So you could even go one step further and be like, this small guy's advertising that he can bench an elephant. 7 tons. Right? He can't do that. He's not that strong. He's strong, but he's not that strong. So you can see the levels of balloony that exist in the community, right? And the reason why I really like this analogy, and I don't know why it took me so long to ever stop and actually think about it, because like for a long time I knew that it was stupid to offer this advice because there's other stuff, but it never really dawned on me that like, wait a second, what the hell are we doing? like genuinely, I never really stopped to think about just how stupid this advice is. It's just dumb. Just straight up dumb. You should practice your mechanics. But practicing your instant 180 and expecting to be accurate and kill tracers and stuff like that, always just not happening. Not happening. If you hit it, you clip it, and then you make a montage, and that's great. That's an outlier moment. It's always going to be. The only situation where it might not be, it's if you're a Overwatch CS player playing against bronzes, and even then, I don't know if you're hitting 90% accuracy. You know. Kinster? We had something, we talked about something like this when we were reviewing this. I don't think you were here.
Ready for battle.
About me experimenting with different perks. I've been playing with swift cuts all the time now.
Keep up if you like.
I still don't really know if I think that from meta changes, map changes, whatever, right? Like swift cuts is better than Dragon's Thirst. I don't really care about that stuff. But I certainly do still believe, and I've always believed, that blade twisting is trash. And even before the buff, I think that meditation was better. And it's funny because the devs will look at the perk pick rate to balance. So they buffed the perk that was already the best perk because Genji players like the sounds of blade twisting, so they pick it. But I played with blade twisting for a bit, and I really enjoyed it. Because a change of pace is nice after picking like Dragon's Thirst for like... Heck, perks have been out for over a year, right? Or sorry, not blade twisting. Not Dragon's Thirst, meditation, right? That's the one that I always picked. I always flip-flop between Dragon's Thirst and Swift Cuts because it takes a while to get used to both and fully playtest them and min-max them, etc. But I started picking blade twisting, and I had a lot of fun with it. And a lot of what it helped me do wasn't optimal, but it allowed me to view the game in a different fashion, look for different types of opportunities, and even if it's a worse perk, or I believe it to be a worse perk, it has helped me improve as a player by putting me in different situations in the games. Situations where I have less health, but I'm also incentivized to go for more kills. Take engagements that I wouldn't maybe otherwise because of the damage difference, etc. Right? So in a way, yes, limit testing is great. Now you shouldn't int, right? But also, how are you supposed to know what is inting if you don't try different things, right? So I did experimentation, and I'm much more open nowadays to doing that type of stuff. Just doing stuff just because I feel like doing it, and just seeing how it goes and seeing what I learn from it. play to shoot a tank more, play to just fully assassinate backlink, always ignore tank, whatever. Just throw something at the wall just to have a different experience, because that will lead to some sort of insight, right? I will learn something from that, even if it is just reinforcing a belief that I already had in the past. You can pick whatever perk you want, right? And like, that's one of the funny things. Even if blade twisting is in tier the worst perk, it still can be a situation where a lot of players would rather pick blade twisting, and it might even be the better perk for them just because of the placebo. Right? I guess placebo is not the best word here, but it should get my point across in that the way that it changes how you view the game, the opportunities that you go for versus what you wouldn't otherwise, is causing you to play better than you would, even if the perk is worse. Right? And that is something that I for a long time also used to not consider, because I used to be so just like logical. I used to not consider these more not necessarily emotional things, but these less objective aspects of the game, right? If you like the perk, and if you feel like you win more with the perk than the other one, then yeah. If you feel like you win more with one skin over the other, me telling you that the other skin is optimal might cause you to lose games, because you might focus less because you don't like the skin, and you're gonna blame the skin whenever you lose, right? Skins have zero impact in games, and yet people will still associate them with winning or losing, with the ways that they play. Sometimes people will pick a skin like Nihon to be like Necros, right? Or they'll be like, oh, I'm so washed, I'm gonna pick the default skin because I don't deserve to wear drip. Who here has gone through that? I bet a lot of people have gone through that, especially if they've been playing for a long time. You know? But yeah, answering how are you supposed to actually play then? Not how Reddit tells you, because Reddit is awful for advice, at least on this type of stuff. A lot of people will just copy and paste the opinion of others and will not know if the others are providing good advice or not, and chances are they're not. And also, it's something that I can't really answer very easily, because there are so many facets of Genji that I could talk about Genji for 7 days straight, and I would still have an infinitely long list of things to talk about. So if you have specific questions, you can tell them here, you can send them on Discord, etc. You can watch my different guides, you can rewind back on the stream and see me review this Colosseo match, where I talk about a bunch of very useful concepts, etc. Right? Can't give a general answer to how you're supposed to play Genji, because yeah, it's just too broad. But yeah. I think at this point, because I've talked so much, I've actually just talked way too much. My voice is really struggling. I should not be laughing at that. I'm not even gonna play, because I know that if I play, I'm gonna bait myself into talking more. I've always done that. I've not fixed that habit yet. So I think I'm gonna end the stream here. And I'm gonna play more another time on the stream. But for those that have more questions and stuff, you can always ask them on my Discord server. You can always let me see if I have the commands, or if it's just gonna be you can probably, oh yeah, there you go. You can also just look at the description of the stream. But also, one thing that I do find worth mentioning, especially for those that have been around on the channel longer, I'll still just like do a proper like channel update. But one of the things that I want to mention here, yeah, 0 dropped frames, is that I have never really liked the paywalling the workshops and stuff like that, and I eventually moved them into just being accessible to view and only paywalling the access, but I still didn't like them. What I did here with like the Colosseum review is kind of what I would do in a workshop, minus the Discord chatting, like the voice chatting. I'm basically gonna transition into the only thing that I paywall is coaching sessions, because I cannot have coaching sessions be free, because then I'm gonna get flooded and then I'm not gonna have time to do the stuff that I want to do. There needs to be a paywall to show that the person that's asking for it is committed enough to the climb for it to be worth the time, right? So I need to paywall that, but I don't want to paywall anything else. So basically what I'm changing with the Patreon is that Patreon does not offer you benefits anymore. So this stream, a lot of what I did right now is just completely free content that might have just been paid content before. And if you appreciate what I do and you want me to keep doing it, supporting me now, at least through this means, man, Patreon used to be a fair amount of the money I made back when it was active, or at least with the workshop system being active. Then Patreon is one of the best ways that you can support me, right? And it's something that you would do completely out of your own goodwill, let's say, right? You don't gain any benefits of it. You're just supporting me so that I can keep doing this, right? That way I can keep providing educational content for free for almost everything, right? Except the coaching sessions. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this plug here. If anyone has like extra income and they want to support the channel, that's your best avenue of actually supporting the channel, supporting what I do, right? Just choosing. And the way that I set up the Patreon too is that I put it on I believe I put it on the minimum value possible, which is I believe $1. And so basically what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to customize how much you want to pay each month. So if you don't really have that much extra income, right, but you want to support the channel, you can support it for a small amount. But if you have a lot, you can customize the membership to just be a lot, right? So I want to see how this goes. I at least am personally much happier with it, because I really hate paywalling content. And that way, like, people can support in a bunch of different ways, right? Those that can't afford don't have to spend. They will always have the content available to them for free. And they can always just support through different means, like sharing and commenting and stuff like that, just being around. And those that do have the means can customize exactly just how much they want to give, right? Anyways, that's gonna be it for the stream. I'm gonna rest my voice now. Goodbye.